As you know, a child's knowledge of phonology is the foundation of skills that they need in order to be successful decoders in reading. This module will discuss some basics and examples for teaching these foundations. One of the easiest ways to refer to a phoneme when instructing a student is to call it a speech sound. After all, a phoneme is the smallest unit of sound. In teaching children about speech sounds, it is important not to include letters in the lesson. The child will eventually reach the point in their phonological knowledge when they can begin working with letters, but in the beginning they need to be exposed strictly to sounds. One idea is to use manipulatives during instruction to represent each sound in a word. For example, have 3 blocks out and assign each block to a speech sound. If you are using the word cat, show the child that the first block represents the k sound, the second block represents the a sound, and the third block represents the t sound. This will help them understand that there are 3 sounds in the word cat without the additional confusion of letters. To further display the importance of using manipulatives instead of letters during this stage, let's say we are teaching a child about the sounds in the word fix. For this, we will need 4 blocks to represent each speech sound. The first for f, the next for I, next for k, and last for s. Although this word has 3 letters, it has 4 speech sounds. A good resource to have is this hierarchy of phonological instruction to help guide you in the process of teaching phonological and phonemic awareness. We begin with the least amount of complexity: syllables, rhymes, and matching final and initial sounds. Then we move to the stages of phonemic awareness, which involve segmenting, blending, and finally deletion and manipulation. These will all be discussed in the following slides. After instruction of syllables and rhyme discussed in the previous slide, we begin instruction in matching final and initial sounds. At this point, it would still be beneficial to avoid use of letters during instruction. Manipulatives that represent sounds are a great way to do this. For example, the initial sound ch in chair matches the initial sound in chart. Use a purple block to represent the ch sound at the beginning and end of each word. The final sound j in beige matches the final sound in garage. The same use of a manipulative color assigned to this sound may be employed. Blending phonemes into words. At this level of instruction, we're teaching phonemes based on transitioning from sounds to words. One way to do this is to ask the student, what do these sounds make when they're blended together? B, a, t. The child demonstrated the ability to blend if they tell you bat. If the child struggles, it would be beneficial to continue use of manipulatives to represent the sounds. Segmenting words into sounds. Segmentation goes in the opposite direction of blending. In this case, we are teaching them to break words down into sounds. The child may be asked, what sounds make up the word bake? B, a, k should be the answer. Again, manipulatives are a good route to go with these lessons to avoid using letters. Deletion and manipulation. This is the most difficult step in the phonological hierarchy. In deletion, we are teaching the student to remove a specific sound from the word. For example, what would the word dog sound like without the d sound? Og. What would the word dog sound like without the g sound? Da. Manipulation requires replacement of specific sounds with other sounds. For example, what would the word sip sound like if you replaced the s sound with a t sound? Tip. What would the word sip sound like if you replaced the p sound with a t sound? Sit. Schwa vowels. Schwa is the vowel that sounds like It may be helpful to use the analogy of the sound you make if you get punched in the stomach. This sound may be stressed or unstressed in a word. For example, some stressed words are butter, under, and fun. In these cases, the sound, the schwa, gets the most emphasis in the word. In one-syllable words, such as fun, the schwa vowel is always stressed. Some examples of the unstressed schwa sound are banana, vitamin, and along. Banana has a schwa in the first and last syllable, vitamin in the second syllable, and along in the first syllable. The images to the right are the symbols used to represent stressed and unstressed schwa. R-controlled vowels. Students are taught that the letter R is a consonant, but it's also important for them to understand that the letter R influences the sounds of the vowels that precede it. In these examples, we see R-controlled vowels R, or, air, and ire.